Okay, in this video, we're going to go over how to solve sets of simultaneous equations using something called matrices. Now here, I'm going to go over this just mechanically. How do you solve these equations? How do you perform the operations? Rather than going over the theory behind them. I'll leave that to your math teachers. Often we will have problems where we've got more than one unknown. And you can't solve just for one unknown separately because each unknown will depend on the other one. So for example, if we consider these three equations for the unknowns x, y, and z. If we want to just find x, we discover we can't solve just for x because while x appears in this equation, so do y and z, and those are also unknown. Right here, I can't solve this because I don't know what y is. And right here, again, I've got y and I've got z, so I can't just solve for x. And so I have to solve all of these equations together or simultaneously. We have a set of simultaneous equations. We're going to go over how to solve that. First thing we're going to do is write all of these in what I'm going to call standard format, which is to say we're going to put all of the unknowns with their coefficients on one side of the equation, on the left-hand side. We're always going to put them in the same order, x, then y, then z. And on the other side, the right-hand side of the equation, we're going to collect all of the constants. This will allow us to form some matrices. So all of the coefficients are going to end up going in this matrix. Here we're going to put all of the unknowns, x, y, and z. And over here will be the constants. Then what I will do is show you how to enter this 3x3 matrix into your calculator and how to enter this 3x1 matrix into your calculator. And then we're going to basically solve the equation by saying x will simply equal the inverse of a times b. And what will spit out on your screen of your calculator will be the three answers for x, y, and z. So first we take the equations that I gave you to start out with, these right here. And we're just going to rewrite them so that all of the x's, the y's, and the z's are on one side of the equation and all of the constants are on the other. So the first equation, I bring the 45 to the other side of the equation and the minus 5z to the opposite side. So we end up with this equation. Here, I'm going to bring the y over to this side, the 5 over to that side, and I'm going to explicitly note that the coefficient in front of z is 0. I do the same thing over here. These equations are now in standard format. The first term is always x, the second term is always y, the third term is always z, and on the opposite side of the equation are just constants. We can now write this in terms of our matrices. So this right here is matrix A. It contains all of the coefficients in front of the x, the y, and the z. And on the other side, we have the matrix B, which just contains all of the constants. The way we reconstruct the equations is you take this row right here, multiply it by this column right here. So we get 2 times x plus minus 4 times y plus 5 times z equals the first term right here, which is minus 33. That is our first equation. Do the same thing for the second row times this column equals the second constant, and we get the second equation. Last row times this column equals the last constant, and we have our three equations. So this is just another way of writing the equations. Now we're going to enter these into our calculator. The way we're going to do that is first find the matrix button right here, which is usually a second level function. So you hit the yellow key right here, second, and the matrix. And this right here should appear on the screen of your calculator. Use the right arrow key to move the cursor over and highlight the edit button and hit enter. Then you should see something like this. First thing you're going to do is define the dimensions of the matrix. Make it 3 by 3. So enter 3 and 3 right here. And an empty 3 by 3 matrix should appear right here. Then we're going to take and enter the values. So right here we've got the 2, the minus 4, and the 5, the 4, the minus 1, and the 0, and the minus 2, the 2, and the minus 3. So this right here enters the matrix A. We do the exact same thing for B, only this will be a 3 by 1, and we enter the constants right here. So now we have entered matrix A and matrix B. The next thing we're going to do is compute the inverse of the matrix and get the answer. So what you do is, again, hit the matrix button right here. You'll get the list of matrices. Select matrix A, highlight that, and then hit enter. And matrix A will just appear in brackets on the screen. Then hit the inverse button, and you'll get a little a with a minus 1 as an exponent. Then we want to multiply that inverse matrix by B. So again, hit the matrix button, select matrix B and hit enter, and A to the minus 1 times B should appear on your screen. Hit enter again to compute the product of the inverse of matrix A times B, and what will appear will be the answers. The first one right here is the answer for the x1, which is x. This is x2 and x3. So this is basically x, y, and z. And here we have our answers. The three elements will give us the x is minus 0.5, y is 3, and z is minus 4. And that is one way to solve a set of unknown equations on your calculator.